Touchdown Tampa Bay. Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the Pewtercast.
Welcome to the Pewtercast and a very, very special edition of an episode. It is Uniform Reveal Day right here in Tampa Bay Buccaneer land. My name is Brent Allen. I'll be your host today, joined as always by my man, good friend, Ren Daxt. Ren, what's happening, pal?
What's happening? What do you mean what's happening? It's U-Day.
Yeah.
Uniform Day.
Yeah.
Uniform Day for the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Uniform Day. Go ahead.
Alarm clock numbers are no more.
There you go. There you go. Well, yes, it is definitely Uniform Day. Everybody knows that. We are live here at the Uniform Reveal. And by at the Uniform Reveal, I mean in our houses because everybody's quarantined, watching it online along with everybody else. But, it's kind of a big day. It's definitely news here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and for us as fans. And it's time to kind of get underway, get the reveal out, and see what's happening out there. So these will be our live reactions as we see the video or whatever it is that they're going to put up there. But Ren, before we get to that, you are a longtime Buccaneer fan. You've been around pretty much since day one. I'm kind of one of those pewter and red guys. I came around right after they changed the uniforms for the first time back in the late 90s. So talk to me about your ideas of the Buccaneer uniforms kind of over the course of history and where we are today.
Well, if you've listened to this podcast long enough and, this uniform talk, I guess, started about 2 years ago.
Yep.
You've heard me say that, it doesn't really matter what the uniforms look like. If you win, they look good.
Right.
And of enough time, at least with the Bucs, enough time has passed between now, like you've disassociated the Bucco Bruce, Florida orange, with the red piping uniforms away from losing, and you can just look at them for what they were, and they're sharp. They are like those orange face masks on the white helmets with you're
talking
with
about what we would call the creamsicles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The Bucco Bruces.
Yeah.
With the orange and red stripe down the helmet, they looked really sharp. And then if you can go out there on the interweb and find pictures the last time they did a throwback. Josh Freeman was the quarterback, and those looked really good. And we actually won that game. But then with the no helmet rule and the Bucs switched to their pewter helmets sort of at the beginning of the Glazer era as owners of the team, we haven't got to see them. So you have this longing for them. But at the time, like they were terrible. Like the team was terrible. Other fans made fun of us. Players didn't like them because other players made fun of them because of Bucco Bruce, the Errol Flynn winking with a boa feather sticking out of his hat, sort of silhouette there on the helmet. So no one liked those. And then we came and we switched up to, I guess, the first version of what, and that seems to be leaked that's sort of what they're going to look a lot like now. The Super Bowl version, the Tony Dungy era version. Then there was a small tweak a little later, I think, to the numbers in the jerseys. And then we have what we have. Then they moved to what we have now. We've had these for the past 5 or 6 years, which I lose at the beginning. The only problem I really had with them was alarm clock numbers. And you know what? If the team would have won, I would have been okay with it. And if the team would have won, I don't think they would have switched uniforms.
Right.
But again, maybe it's not a terrible idea for a franchise every, sort of like half dozen or decade so to change the uniforms. If you're into that, because those people that are very serious about buying jerseys have to buy new ones.
Right. Right. I hate the idea that they changed jerseys just to force people to sell them, although I understand it from a money-making standpoint. But I also I'm the kind of person, I like change. I don't like for things to stay the same forever. So I like an update to the jersey every once in a while. But I'm with you on this last uniform, the one that is now the alarm clocks, the dreaded, oh my gosh. I'm with you. I actually liked them outside of the numbers. Like if you rip those numbers off, put normal numbers on, I kind of liked them. I thought they were rather sharp. but it's hard. You can't separate the two. The fact is they had those alarm clock numbers on, and for whatever reason, they could never even just change that. So there you go. And you're right. It's associated with losing. And if we had been winning, people would be like, oh, bring me those beautiful alarm clock numbers, because you wouldn't care. You know, if you're winning, you don't care. No, this is the uniform and we're going to stay with it. But we haven't. So
and I've said this before, like sort of like the perfect example is University of Alabama. Like University of Alabama didn't have the players' number or names on the back of their jerseys. And when, they finally relented and probably was the last team to do so, except for maybe Penn State. I don't think Penn State has the numbers in the back or the names on the back. Anyway, the point being is, Alabama was Alabama through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and part of the 80s. And they were tough and they were classic. And look at these guys, they're going to pound you into the dirt. And then they fell on hard times. And it's like, oh, look, you're outdated. You're out of touch with today's player. And then Nick Saban gets there. And all of a sudden now the uniforms are classic and cool and don't mess with these guys again. And it's like the perfect example. So with you, I didn't like this, we keep calling them the alarm clock, and they shall ever be known as the alarm clock. I didn't love them enough where I'm upset this is being changed. But I really don't care enough about the uniforms to stump for it.
Sure, I get
if that makes sense.
To pin it to the top of your Twitter profile and make it a platform upon which you base your entire media presence. And then take credit for forcing the organization into change, right?
Yes, exactly. I'd rather win.
There you go. I'm with you on that. And well, let me ask you this, Ren, as we go. The clock is ticking down here. The new uniforms are going to be revealed soon, assuming through a press conference or something of that nature, or video. I assume it's more than just a picture they're going to put out on Twitter. But there's been a few quote unquote leaks of what people have described out there. We know our friend Sammer over at Loose Cannons. He has done 1,000 mock-ups, and some of them have looked great, and some of them have not been my style, and I've not liked them. But what do you put any weight behind some of these leaks? What are you expecting or anticipating to see happen, or what would you like to see happen with the new uniforms outside of just win? Yeah,
between Samra and all the other people that have put out sort of, what they could look like, or even before, the Bucs officially announced they were changing them. Like, what about this? Hey, Buck fans, do you like these? Do you like these? I'm sure there's something out there that's very close to what they are going to be or what they actually are. And I think I'm just going to kind of stick with what BA said, because he's seen them and he said at the combine that they're closer to the Super Bowl run.
Right.
The first big change they had when they dumped Bucco Bruce in the orange and the white and went to the pewter and red. So that's what I'm expecting. I hope, I really do. I hope they sort of have an homage, because they did. I mean, back when they did change those went to the pewter and red, they did have a, Florida orange, creamsicle orange stripe in their pants. So, that was sort of like the ode and throwback to it. So I hope there's something like that. It could be simple as like maybe the football, on the helmet, if they don't change the decal, which I'm not expecting, or, whoever makes these, Reebok, Nike, whoever they are, maybe the swoosh, is that creamsicle orange, or maybe like on the cuff of the sleeve and the neck might be, or something like that. But and besides that, that's all I'm really hoping for. A dream scenario would be switch to white helmet so they could do the throwbacks.
Just peel the sticker off and put the Bucco Bruce sticker on.
Yeah. And I don't even know why they just can't paint them for a week. I really don't, but whatever. I really don't think that's going to happen, because there is, talks, and no one's really sure if it's going to be pushed through or not, but it's on the table that the one helmet rule is going to be, loosened or relaxed, or maybe thrown out the window altogether in the 2021 season. If that happens, then we will all get our wish and get to see Tom Brady and creamsicle.
Are you hoping for any particular color? Do you want him to keep the red color rush? There's been I like, one of the things I really like about Sammer and some of the mock-ups he's done are the pewter color rush. I think those have looked real sharp. Or is there a particular combination you're looking for out there?
Well, I've been screaming for Pewter Color Rush since, it was
Since Color
revealed
Rush?
on, since Color Rush. Like, what was it, like a Thursday night game where the Jets and the Bills came out and Jets were all green, the Bills were all red, and was like, what is this?
Right, and every colorblind person couldn't tell the difference.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every middle-aged man over the age of 40 couldn't tell what the hell's going on. So I was, hoping that I was hoping like all white or all pewter, all red. I thought, yeah, it'd be cool, but a pewter is a color that only Tampa has, and I just think that it would be cool to be able to stand out like that, because I know the Dolphins, like, they go sort of all orange, and that's kind of like an all creamsicle. So, that was another one I was stumping for. So I think if I had my pick, I would probably, I would at least want to see. I don't know if I'd like them, because hey, all gray, oh great, that's the color you put in like insane asylums in middle schools to calm down the patients and the kids. So, that would be the one I'd like to see how, how that works with the helmet.
All right. Well, Ren, with that, I see here they have. I guess it's about a 1 minute long video. That's how they're doing this. It's not a press conference or anything like that. So why don't we take a moment? We'll play a little quick music interlude while Ren, you and I watch this video. We'll check it out. We'll be right back with our initial reactions to this particular new uniform. So stay right with us, guys. We'll be right back. All right, Ren, well, that's it. They're here. The new uniforms are officially revealed. They are out. And boy, oh boy, do they look pretty close to a lot of these leaks. Not exactly. They are a little bit different, I think, than some of these leaks, but they are pretty dang close. I don't even know where to begin in talking about this. Ren, I guess I'll just get your first reaction to looking at these new uniforms.
They look like the Super Bowl era uniforms.
They do.
They do. They've got the ship back on, the side of the shoulder. Should we talk about sort of like the little things that have changed? I mean, besides the numbers, obviously, everyone listening to this has already seen them, because if you care enough to listen to our pod, you care enough about this.
It'll probably be the graphic that goes along with this pod. So,
Yeah, so I mean, the face masks have gone to black.
Face mask gone to black. Yeah. But the rest of the helmet looks the same.
Yes, yes. The rest of the helmet looks the same, and the home and away kits, I will say, do have the orange line down the pants, which I like. And that seems to be the only spot on there, except for maybe the football, on the helmet.
Right.
There was a mock out there that I liked a lot where they had sort of like two stripes across the top of the shoulder. I always thought, every time I saw that, I just kind of liked the way that looked. This doesn't have it. But yeah, I mean, the pewter looks a little more gunmetal gray than sort of like that silver chromy. It looked like silver, like our pewter that's been for a while, especially back in the Super Bowl Bucks, was it looked like they took gold and silver and mixed it together.
Right.
This seems to be a little flat, not as shiny. Probably won't change the color as much when they sweat in them.
Not getting those butt sweat stains.
Well, I don't care about the stains, but it would change the color of the pants.
Right.
So like they're out there running around two-tone, and we I guess we got our wish, but yeah, they went to an all pewter, almost like I said, gunmetal gray color rush. Now,
I do want to talk about that, because what I notice on the all pewter color rush, whereas with the other two jerseys, the home and away, the regular red and white, the numbers are outlined in, or there is an orange stripe as part of the outline for the numbers, Ren. So it goes red, orange, and then black on the whites. And then on the reds, it's the white number with orange and then black. So there is some orange there as well. But over on the color rush, the pewter one, it's just a white number with red outline, and everything on the color rush jersey is trimmed out in red. And if I'm being critical, I don't know that I love the red trim on all those, on all that pewter. But other than that, I like it. They're very, very sharp. And I'll say this, I'm kind of comparing, I'm A-Bing back and forth the new uniforms versus the Super Bowl eras. The numbers are similar, but they are a little bit different. Like they're thicker. I think the actual number part is thicker. They might be a little bigger. But the red, the red that they're using now is more in line with the red that we have most recently had with the alarm clock jerseys, which is it's like a deeper or like a brighter red versus what we had back in the Super Bowl era. And maybe it's just the picture that was taken back then. It looked more like a almost like that red had a little more black mixed in it, not as bright.
Right. A crimson.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I like them. I think, I don't know how much the jerseys affects, it's that like look good, feel good, play good. Like I don't know how much I buy into that mantra. But it could be interesting to see what happens here,
Yeah, the same with the color rush jerseys, the all gunmetal gray. There is no hint of orange on it at all.
No,
No, like there's no piping in the pants. There's no piping on the numbers. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And, again, if you haven't seen them yet and you're just listening to this, what are you doing? So
are you even a Bucs fan?
and if you haven't, they kind of look like an Ohio State alternate uniform is what they look like. The Buckeyes is a silver and red. Maybe they're silver and crimson. Who knows? But I, that's a lot what it reminds me of when I see it if I look at it without the helmet. I would say, oh, that's Ohio State's like, we're being fancy and cool today uniform. But I like it. I like the change to the pewter, to the more like the gunmetal gray, which looks actually more pewter instead of like some chromy silver gold amalgamation. I like the black face mask. I know everyone loved the chrome face mask. I didn't. Like I thought it was maybe because when they're like, oh, we're changes coming soon, and like they just increased the helmet or the logo and put on a chrome face mask, and it's like new uniforms, and it's like
it was like Warren Sapp did like the big reveal of it, and we're like, oh,
oh wow, chrome face mask, wow, thanks,
right.
Sir. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to work now.
Well, Ren, speaking of work, so that's the new uniforms. I like them. I'm for them. I definitely like them better than the alarm clock numbers. Although, I don't know. It's so hard for me to separate the old jersey away from the numbers. But it's
definitely more of a classic look.
But it's not the Super Bowl era. It's we did not go backwards. We really didn't.
No, I don't mean classic in Buccaneers like realm. I mean classic as in uniforms, period.
Sure. Yeah.
This isn't, the Houston Rockets, when they changed to their spaceship, looks like they were, they should have been a Tomorrowland sort of poster for Disney World. It wasn't when the Broncos went from, the D with the horse, and now there's a flaming horse, and there's like 3 different swooshes. Like there's a half a stripe up their pants and a half a stripe down their helmet. It's a pretty classic, and I like it. It's clean. I think I heard maybe Devin White or Chris Godwin say that when they teased that reveal, showing them looking at the new uniforms. They look clean to me. And an interesting thing, like Chris Godwin, who's in this, it's Chris Godwin, Levante David, and of course Devin White. Chris Godwin's wearing 14.
His new number, yeah.
But when they filmed the first part of it, showing them the uniform, he was still 12. So this is a recent shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Which means...
or they had that change already situated a long time ago. But yeah, no, this is probably a recent shoot, right?
Yeah. And I wonder how many people it took to shoot that.
I don't know. There's I'm looking at a couple of the still shots that they've, that have kind of populated out. There's one that shows it's got the three guys individually. Levante's in red, Chris is in gray, and Devin's in white. And they're all like running towards the camera. And Devin's right in the middle. And the way they snapped it, like his what would that be? His right leg is like bent up behind him, and it looks like he only has one leg. It looks like his right leg is amputated, which is really funny. I'll see if I can't shoot that out to you.
That's okay.
I don't really know what else to say about these, Ren. I mean, I approve. Not that my approval is going to change anything, but
numbers on the shoulders. I guess we should talk about on the top of the shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much about it. Yeah.
I would say if in comparing these to the Super Bowl era, I think the big things that I would note is the colors are brighter. It seems to me. The numbers do look a little bigger. I think they're bigger on the jersey, bigger on the chest.
Yeah.
And then
They take up more space.
And it just, but they're very clean. There's not a lot of clutter on these uniforms.
No.
So
no two-tone shoulders. No. Like there's no stripes on the sleeves. That's something that's pretty rare for NFL teams.
That's right.
Most teams have stripe on the sleeves.
We get the Nike swoosh on each sleeve though, so can't leave that out.
No.
Could have. But yeah, and then the black face mask. I think the black face mask. I think I'm gonna like going back to the black face mask. I really do. But honestly, of all the things on the uniform that I care about the most, the color of the face mask, whether it's chrome or black, is probably one of the least things that's like I could care less about between the two uniforms.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be embarrassed. Like they try to go super, do something stupid, try to be fashion forward like they did the alarm clock numbers.
Like yeah.
I saw somebody today tweet out these ones that were just awful mock-ups, but it was an idea that I thought maybe the Bucs might do, where they, like, instead of the stripe down the pants, they did it sort of like an angle from the hip down the front across the thighs and to the knee. Oh dear. Because it looked like a sash, like a red sash.
Oh dear.
Like a pirate would wear. And I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we got alarm clock numbers. Like, I would not put it past them.
Right.
They're like, look, you're a pirate. And it looks so dumb, but I'm glad they look pretty classic. I'm happy with them. I'm not embarrassed. And I guess that was like, as much as I wanted going in, like, just don't embarrass me as a fan, please.
There you go. Well, I'm with it. All right, Ren. Well, I think that's going to do it for us, man. I think we've exhausted the uniform talk.
Yes.
Everybody go buy your uniform, I guess. Ren, whose jersey are you buying first?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, if you listen to the podcast, I'm not a jersey guy, but I'm not sort of like these staunch people that are like, if you're over 40, you can't wear a jersey or you can't tuck your jersey in, which I'm kind of for that one, but it's your jersey. You would do whatever you want with it.
Right.
But I am a person who doesn't wear like another grown man's name on my back because I'm grown. So I guess I sort of fit in with those people. But my caveat is, if you're at the game, by all means, wear it. If you're going out, with your friends to the local wing joint or local bar to watch the game, wear your jersey because that's why you bought it. You wore it for that day during the game. But besides that, like, don't wear it to Publix. Like, no, like, don't wear it to work. Those things I just can't get behind. That goes for any jersey. Like, I'm talking basketball, baseball, soccer. Like, wear your baseball jersey to the game. Wear your hockey jersey. Did I say soccer? wear your hockey jersey when you go to a Lightning game or out watching Lightning game with friends or by yourself. Like, that's completely fine. But as an accessory, like a hat, like, hey, I'm going to Home Depot and throw on your Stamkos jersey. No.
Right.
No.
I understand why people do it. I don't personally, but I'm with you. My rule is I'll generally wear it like to the game. I'll wear it the day of the game, even if I'm not going to the game. Like I may wear it around
around the house. Yeah.
Yeah. Around the house, or, if I'm going to, hell, it's Sunday, I'm going to church this morning before the game, and I might wear my jersey to church, and the Lord's going to be okay with it because he is. But
no.
But outside of that, yeah, I don't typically wear them. But if I get a jersey, just so you know, because you have not influenced me in this. This is just the way I've always been. If I get a jersey, I want one with my own name on the back. Like, I'll get a custom one with, honestly, my number from high school when I played football all those many years ago, and my name on the back. That's how I'm gonna get I'll get a jersey. So
what's the name? What's the number from high school?
72.
Is that No, that's not Marpet.
No.
Who's 70? Is anybody 72?
You'd think I'd know this.
Yeah, you think
I know this. No, but it's one of those numbers that's been the last person that was 72, I think, was Logan Mankins, and it's been shifting. Marpet's 74.
All-decade team Buccaneer, Logan Mankins.
There you go. Yeah, it's one of those. It's nobody that, like, I can personally get behind so far. Like, yeah, let me get his number. It's not been that. So
you're not getting a Hanatu on the back of your 72.
No. So not doing it. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna do it. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, we should talk about how 4 Buccaneers made the all-decade team that have a total of 3 years service with the Buccaneers. Did you see that?
No, I missed this.
So the Buccaneers came out there, or the Buccaneers, the NFL came out with their all-decade team, right?
Uh-huh.
And there are 4 people on there that on the all-decade team that have played for the Buccaneers or will play for the Buccaneers, hopefully eventually. And if you add up all their years of service as a Buccaneer, it adds up to 3 years.
Okay. Who are the 4 people?
Brady.
Okay. That makes
0
sense.
years service.
Sure.
Ndamukong Suh.
1 year of service.
In case you're wondering, Gerald McCoy did not make it. Darrelle Revis.
Okay. What was he? Was he 2 years?
1.
It was just the one because he spent another year injured or something like that, right?
Yeah. We paid him $16 million and gave up a first-round pick and another late-round pick for him to come off an injury for 1 year. That was bad. That was terrible. That was bad. Mm-hmm. And then, your boy, Logan Mankins.
All right. And Logan had 2, right?
Nope. Just played 1.
No, he had 2.
Okay.
Did he? Wait.
What?
I could have swore he played 2 years here.
Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter. All right. Well, that's all right.
And finally,
yes,
we have to thank everyone. And plus our competitors. Of course, I'm talking about the Nick Citro.
I call him Citro Nitro.
Nitro.
Yeah.
Of Bucks Report, he put together that sort of March Madness bracket, and you and I had very tough matchups individually.
Personally, I went against Rick Stroud in the first round. Who'd you go against?
Yeah. The only thing you had going for you was like anti-Stroud people,
right?
Like who's this Brett Allen? I don't know, but I don't like.
But
Rick,
it's not Stroud. That's who he is. Is not Stroud, right?
And I went up against the lead draft writer for the USA Today.
Easterling, right?
Yeah, Luke Easterling.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a chance, but when we combined forces.
By our powers combined,
the Pewtercast made it all the way to the Final Four, and that was pretty crazy.
That was, and I got to tell you, to be quite frank, that whole thing, I know it was just something that was just for fun, but it honestly wound up, I think, meaning a lot more to me than it probably should have. And Ren's absolutely right. So to everyone who voted for the Pewtercast and put us through, because we in like the first round, I don't even know who we went against. It was somebody that I don't know that I had personally ever heard of before.
Yeah, there was a lot of Instagram accounts in the first round that I didn't even know existed. Not that, it's not a fun follow, but I don't know. I'm just not really sure Instagram should have been in there. And maybe just need to fill it, because there's a difference like putting up a picture and doing an hour-long podcast or writing for the paper or writing for, Fansided or Sportsbook Nation. But they have a lot of followers, so I kind of get that.
Sure.
But yeah, we went up against Instagram. I've never even I had no idea.
So shout out to them, but we passed that one. But then after that, we went up against the quote unquote number 1 seed in our division, which, by the way, we were the 8th seed. We beat the number 1 seed, which was WDAE.
Right.
Why
do you think we beat WDAE?
Because quite frankly, I think we have better content than they do. And I've listened to DAE when I'm down in Tampa. I don't even live in Tampa, but the times I'm down in Tampa, I listen to their stuff and I go, we have a better show. If you and I, Ren, and I truly believe this, if you and I, and this is so prideful for me to say it, and I don't care. If you and I were employed by a radio station, I think we would be one of the number 1, if not the number 1 talk radio shows in Tampa Bay. I think our show is that good. I really do.
Do you understand that you would have to learn about hockey and baseball though, right?
Oh, for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Well, because you got to fill 3 hours, 5 days a week.
Right.
And we can't talk about the Buccaneers. And during the off season, we're going once every 2 weeks for an hour,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
And they're going 15 hours a week.
Listen, I fully understand what you're saying, but as far as when it comes to Bucks content and what we're doing here,
there you go.
And this wasn't just a Tampa Bay covering everybody kind of a thing. This really was about Bucks centric people. And as far as that goes, I think that our Bucks coverage is better than WDAE. I really do. And I think our listeners know that. I think our listeners appreciate that. And I think it actually was reflected in a lot of those brackets because we weren't out stumping for. I mean, we made a couple of little like kind of jokey videos. But they pushed us up over the number 1 seed WDAE, which was like, wow. And then after that, we went up against our friend James Money Hill, and we had a little bit of fun going back and forth with him, which, by the way, Ren, your video, if you guys have not seen Ren's video during that time, it's a Tiger King spoof. It is amazing. I cackled the entire way through watching it. I had no idea what you were doing, but it was so funny, Ren.
Thanks. Yeah. I threw that together like in a half an hour. And it was okay. It was okay. You got to sort of pay attention to what I'm saying, because almost everything I say is wrong. Like, I call this the pewter cat.
The pewter cat. I was trying to get a logo of the pewter cat up somewhere. Just
yeah, the pewter cat. And I haven't felt so sure about anything since I ran for governor of the great city of Oklahoma.
Right. There was a lot of those things.
There's a lot of sort of like, you got to pay attention to what he's saying, but Cheryl was nice enough to do that for me, but we did it in one take. But you warned me, like, you can only go on Twitter for like a minute 40 or 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's 220 is the max.
And I went over, so we had to cut. So when I put it up, I had to cut the first part about it, and the whole first part was about me explaining why I don't look like Joe Exotic.
I need you to send me the full video. We'll release that at some point here.
but
we'll put it up
me.
On our YouTube channel, Ren.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but no, thanks to everybody. Here's my thing with WDAE. One, I mean, obviously they have way more Twitter followers. They have like 22,000 or something, but they only use their Twitter page for self-promotion. Like, they don't interact with anybody, on Twitter. It's just, this is our show. So they don't sort of get into conversations or answer questions from people that follow them on Twitter. So I think sort of that hurt them, because it's a Twitter poll. And then also, I do agree with you. I think, it's something I've said a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but quite a few times. It's like, if WDA did a better job covering the Buccaneers, there wouldn't be 50,000 Buccaneer fan podcasts.
Absolutely.
There just wouldn't. Right. You don't really engage with people anymore through calling. I put somebody, put something on Twitter about how it said, you guys are better, that's why you're winning. And they were pretty nasty about WDAE, use like, they really blink and suck and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And I just tweeted what I just basically said, was, they've made a change and it's not caller driven anymore. Some people like change, some people don't. And Tom Krasnicki, was like, oh, we've always been about the callers. And then he rambled off like, we do text and we do Facebook. But that's what it is. Like, if you listen to the show and all their shows, they like, text will come in and they pick one they like and they'll say it out loud and they'll comment on it for like 2-3 seconds and then go on to what they were doing. That's what they kind of do. It's like, it's not caller driven anymore. And it's just not for me. And I think it's not for a lot of people. And I think when they talk Bucks and we talk Bucks, I think we blow them out of the water.
I agree. And I don't want to come off as that person that you described who was like, oh, they bleep. Like, I don't want to be negative.
They do what they do. They do what they do. They got a lot of nice on-air talent.
And they, right. But, you and I say it all the time with this show. We make a show that we would want to listen to as fans. And that's the I mean, you and I were just talking about something, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, Ren, about maybe some ideas for the upcoming season. And the litmus test we threw that up against the wall with was, would we want to hear this as a listening, as a fan? And that kind of, that certainly helps form our decisions.
The answer was absolutely not.
That was maybe, let's give it a shot and see how it works out. Let's do a trial run before we release anything. And you're right, it'll probably suck. So, but that's how we do that. So, so we beat the number 1 seed, and then we actually went up against James Money Hill. He was, I think, the number 5 seed or something like that. Yeah. So we beat him, and James was a great sport about it all the way through. We had some fun. And then we went up against the number 3 seed in our division, which was,
I don't remember.
The number 3 seed, Pewter Plank. It was the Pewter Plank Battle of the Pewters. And
I was more worried about James than anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pewter Plank was a close one, and then we beat them and got all the way into the Final Four.
Final four.
And which we went up
Final
against
four.
our friends Scott and Mark and those guys over at Pewter Report, Grizz and Matt, and
had no chance.
no. Well, I mean, it got to like 65-35 really quick, and then it went like plus or minus 3% either way, and stayed within like that 6-point difference. So, you know, but I talked to both Mark and Scott actually during that whole thing, and you know, we were joking around about it. So congratulations to Mark and Scott. I guess the winner of that's coming out here in just a couple of hours, Ren, as we record this.
Oh, Shay's killing him.
Oh, I'm sure he is because of all that other stuff, but I don't want to get into that, Ren. We have rambled on long enough.
Cheater!
We have done that. So Ren, let's go ahead and close the show out for today. Thank you guys so much for coming on and joining us here as we talk about these, you know, all of these various new uniforms and the Twitter stuff and all that other stuff. So Ren, why don't you take a moment, tell the folks out there where they can find you on the internet.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to, this is my tweet at Pewter Report. This is where I'm supposed to be humble and grateful for losing. So there you go. Best place to find me on Twitter is at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook. Email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. We'll get that out on a future episode of the show. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us for today. We got new uniforms, Ren. So woot woot. And Pewter, Color Rush Pewter is in the house. We've never had that before. I'm excited about that one. And all that. Merry Christmas to us Bucs fans. We'll talk to you guys next time. Go Bucs.
Cheater!